I don't use my brain to remember things anymore, and it's one of the best systems I've ever built. Instead of keeping tasks, bills, and random reminders in my head, I have created 7 lists that literally run my life. From daily routines and weekly tasks to grocery lists and bills to be paid, these lists capture everything that my brain used to capture. In this video, I'll walk you through each one, how I use them, and how these systems free up mental space for things that actually matter. So hi, I'm Emily from Chasing Simple, and the first list is my daily list. So I have a routine of things that I do every day. And you may say, well, you do them every day. You don't need a list for that. But I actually do, because sometimes the daily things of life, like emptying the dishwasher and packing your kid's lunch, and putting in a load of laundry and remembering to switch the laundry and fold the laundry and all of those things that, yes, you do them every day, they get overwhelming because you have so much on your brain that you need to be able to say, okay, I'm overwhelmed. I'm just gonna look at this list. It's a recurring list in the notes app on my phone, and it has little radio buttons that I can check off, and then I can reset them at the end of the day to all be back for tomorrow. And I love that list. I love having it digital so that I don't have to write it or find it. And I always have it with me. And I have it in order of the things that I typically would do. And so that way I kind of have a benchmark for before I leave the house. I want to do these couple of things. And then when I get home in the afternoon, once I've picked up my son from school, these are the things that need to get done before bedtime. And so that has helped me so much. And it has really helped me to kind of take a breather and not feel overwhelmed with the dailiness of my life. All of what I need to do is captured right there in that list. Along with that, I've divided the things that I do on a weekly basis into a weekly tasks list. And so that's things like on Sunday, I take the trash out. On Monday, I vacuum my house. On Tuesday, I clean out my microwave, my sink, and wipe down my stovetop. You know, those sorts of things that I want to do them once a week, but I don't want to do them every day. And so I've just kind of given my brain a space to keep those things. And I know that by the end of the week, I will be able to wrap up those things. And each day I know where to go to look for those things. I don't have to remember or wonder if I've done them. I can easily look and check off those things on that list. This next list catches everything that doesn't repeat but still needs to get done. And this idea sort of comes from Lisa Woodruff, who has the Sunday basket. And that's a wonderful system that kind of creates all of your to-dos into one specific day of the week that you do them, and it's a basket, and there's a whole lot to it. And I am a little bit more simple than that. That is a system that feels too complicated to me, but I love her idea of batching to-dos, and especially things that you don't do every single week, because they just are not things that you're going to remember to do. So that's things like responding to a wedding invitation, calling on a medical referral, picking up something that wouldn't be on a typical grocery list or that you can't order online, planning your child's birthday party, all of those tasks that are not repeatable. And so, but you still need to do them. And so she calls it a Sunday basket. I do those things on Thursday because I have like a 20 to 30 minute block of time where I'm waiting for my son at an appointment. And it's a time where I can tackle those things. So I call it a Thursday basket. It's a list in my phone, it's a folder in my email, and then I can just keep all of those things all in one spot. Now, obviously I can't do errands in that 20 to 30 minute wait time, but at least I know that they're on that list, and then I can tackle them when I'm driving by that area. By keeping all of those things in one spot, I don't have to remember, because those are the things that will easily slip your brain. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I didn't sign the field trip permission slip or whatever. So having a place to capture that is so helpful. And I also think it's really helpful for there to just be one place to capture it. So I don't like to have like random sticky notes and notebooks and lots of different places that could capture it, because then I can't remember where I put it. So I just have one list. It's in my phone because my phone is usually with me or in my general vicinity, so I could easily access it and reference it. So then there's things that are out of my hands but I still need to follow up on, and that is my waiting for list, which I also keep in my phone. So if I've called on something but I had to leave a message and I'm waiting for a call back, I've submitted the paperwork for something and I'm waiting to find out, or I submitted a refund request but I haven't received the shipping label yet. Things like that, I just drag them into that waiting for folder in my email or put them on that waiting for list in my phone. And then that way I know that I can just take a quick look through that on Thursdays when I'm doing my random actionable to-dos, and I can just see, is there anything that I need to keep following up on? Does somebody need to get another phone call or email about this? Is there anything that I can do to keep this moving forward? And that way I don't have to remember that I need to follow up on it. Now let's talk about lists that simplify things when it comes to your household. And one of those for me is groceries. And so I don't know if you're like this, but I find that I buy a lot of the same things from week to week at the grocery store. So I always buy a couple gallons of milk. I always buy almond milk. I always buy eggs. I always buy spinach. I always buy frozen chopped onions. And so those things really, regardless of what my meal plan will be for that week, they always come into our house. And so rather than trying to remember those things, then I just put them all into one list. I use the Walmart app for my groceries, and I have my groceries delivered to me, or sometimes I pick them up. But within that, you can make lists, and I made one that's called weekly buys. And I put my 3 boxes of seltzer that I always buy. I put my almond milk, my spinach, my chopped onions, all of those things that are regularly recurring items, all on that list. And I can always put together the rest of my grocery list with our meal plan, and then I can add that whole thing to the cart, or they're all there and I can just add items that I still need into my cart. It's so easy, and then I don't have to go looking for those items. It saves me a ton of time. I can add most of that stuff to my cart within 2 minutes. Alongside food, I keep a separate list of household items. So that's things like toilet paper, cleaning supplies that you regularly use, things like shampoo and conditioner, soap, razors, all of that sort of thing that you don't buy all of the time. But if you run out of it, it's pretty inconvenient, you know? And so I just have another list in the Walmart app of all of those things that I regularly buy. So that way it's got the brands that I already like, it's got the quantity that I already like. And I just take a quick breeze through that list when I'm doing my grocery shopping. And especially if I haven't reached my budget threshold for my groceries that week of like where I want to not exceed. If I haven't, I'll go look through that household list and just see, is there anything that I need? And I'll go ahead and buy it while I'm having a lower spend week at the grocery store, so that I'm not having a huge expense on that another week when I have less room for that. Just do a quick breeze through that list, and that helps me to know, am I almost out of dishwasher pods? Do I need more toilet paper or anything like that? Thing with that, if you find yourself running out of things, it might mean that other things are out of order. So I'll just mention that I always clean bathrooms on Wednesday nights, and when I do that, then I also check my bathrooms for supplies, so things like toilet paper. And when I'm cleaning, I have to lift up like the shampoo and the conditioner in order to wipe underneath it on the shelf that it sits on. And I'm using my cleaning supplies, so I touch a lot of household products while I'm doing that task. And so by doing that weekly, I'm really aware before I make my grocery list on Thursday, do we need any of that? Do we need to refill the cleaning supplies? Am I almost out of toilet paper as I'm setting rolls out? Let's go ahead and add that to the list. And that is super helpful so that I'm on top of it. And finally, one of my most powerful tools for reducing mental load is my bills list. Now, I pay most of my bills via auto pay because I prefer to have that fairly hands off. But once you do that, then you really do have to make sure that those bills pay. And recently we had some fraudulent activity on our account, and oh my gosh, was I so thankful that I had this list, because I was so easily able to restart all of those automatic payments once we had to close accounts and reopen accounts in order to deal with that with our bank. And I was also easily able to look at the transactions list that our bank had printed out for us and compare it to what my bills list was. I knew exactly what charges were legitimate and what charges were not as a result of that list. So what this list is it's just a list where you make it by the day of the month. So I just have all of my bills listed like from the 1st through the 31st of the month, and how much comes out, or like a high number if it's a number that varies. For example, like a utilities payment or a gas payment or something like that may vary, but I just use a higher number so that I kind of can plan for that. So I have the date, I have the vendor, I have the amount, and then that way, if I'm needing to make sure that there's adequate money in the account for all of those bills, I can just take a quick look and make sure that yes, there's adequate money to do that, or transfer some money from savings if there's not. And that way I have everything in order. But also it's so nice for whenever you take a look at your account, you can just quickly check those things off. Yes, they did come out. Yes, they got paid. And you don't get surprised with random fees and that kind of thing. I think sometimes automating is a little bit tricky because it can make us feel a little bit hands off about it, but it's good to still be aware. And this really saved my bacon when it came to having to reset all of that automatic stuff. I was able to do it in about an hour and a half because I had all of that in front of me. I do keep that as a physical list, and I also keep it in my phone. I have a picture of it in my phone, And that way I can easily reference it whether or not we have access to our online banking, because when we had fraudulent activity on our account, all of our access went away for a period of time while they were getting things reset for us. I do hope that this list of lists has been helpful to you and that you'll let me know in the comments what lists are saving your life right now, because I would love to know and I would love to learn from you as well. So thanks for joining me. I will see you on my next one.